Madam President, today we are amending the Antigua and Barbuda sales tax, the Principal Act of 2006. And I think we all agree that that is what Parliament is about. We look at the legislation and we try to see how we can refine it, how we can make it better, where it's not working, how we can make it work better. But I want to put on the table, Madam President, for this side, we understand the need for the ABST. But having had it for so long, it gives us an opportunity to look at how it's working, if it's working, or if it's not working, and if it's not working, what can we do to make it better? And I want to suggest that the issue with the ABST as it is right now is an issue of compliance. Persons are not being compliant in paying the ABST, which is why I think the government is being forced to say, well, we're shortening the time period in which you can pay. No longer 30 days, but we're going to make it 15 days. We are suggesting that for the persons who are paying and their people, their businesses who actually pay the ABST, we are making it harder for them. We are supposed to be going for those who are not complying with the ABST to bring them into the net. And we're asking, what can we do to make that better? One of the things, Madam President, we have to ask ourselves, how can we get more people to pay the ABST? There are a number of businesses out there that are conducting business in Antigua and Barbuda who are not registered. And it is unfair for those who pay continuously every year, every month. Some struggle to do, but others, they pay. They might pay late, but they pay. But there are others who do not contribute to the ABST. And we are suggesting that we have to widen the net to get them in. So we are asking, what methods are we using to ensure that more persons are being, or more businesses are being registered? I remember when the UPP tried to have businesses registered, there was a lot of pushback. But I think today we can all agree that there is a need to have people registered, have businesses registered. And this, Madam President, will go a long way to capture those. More people are playing, it's more income, more tax revenue coming in. And it matters not how small or how large the businesses are. Everybody must pay their fair share of taxes. Not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So there is a large section of businesses out there we need to capture to bring them into the net.
Senator George, please take your seat. Senior senators should know better. Don't encourage decorum that's unbecoming. Thank you. Continue, Senator Nicholas.
So we need to bring more businesses into the net. And Madam President, I think I heard the Prime Minister said it one time about this culture of the non-payment of taxes. We all realize it's an issue we have in this country. People just do not like to pay tax. And I think we're at that stage where we need to cultivate that culture of tax paying, because all of us have a responsibility to make sure that taxes are paid. Our argument is, use the carrot rather than the stick. What can we do to incentivize people to pay their taxes? Those who are already compliant, we're whipping them, but they are paying. They're struggling to pay, yet they pay. How do we get those not paying in so that we all can?
Madam President,
they are paying.
Point of order. Point of order.
Yes, what is your point of order? Senator, 1 minute. Senator Nicholas, turn off your microphone. What's your point of order, Senator Shaw?
Senator Nicholas keeps referring to people struggling to pay ABST. How can you struggle to pay a tax that you're collecting on behalf of the government, Madam President? Where are the facts to substantiate what she's saying?
Okay. So the question, your
point of order is... My point of order is, Madam President, that is misleading, and she has said it more than one time.
Okay, and it's... Thank you. So Senator Nicholas, please.
Madam President, Madam President, I know Senator Shawl, as a businessman, know exactly what I'm saying. Because the ABST is paid. The ABST is paid. Yes, it is collected. But when they have so many other competing, we know, I'm not suggesting at all that it is right, but we know that people have held on to government revenue. And it's not just for ABST. We've seen it for medical benefits. We've seen it for Social Security. It does not make it right, which is why I made the point. We need to cultivate that culture of paying what belongs to Caesar. We pay unto Caesar. That's the point I'm making. We know it is wrong, but it is happening. I'm not.
Am I ruling on this point of order at all? Am I supposed to rule on it, or is it just for the sake of conversation? Because, Senator Nicholas, I think you've clarified your position, but I understand why Senator Shaw would have raised on the point of order. So thank you for your clarity. And I believe, Senator Shaw, we have a long list here. The Senator Nicholas is the second, and you will have an opportunity to address that matter if you need to. But you've clarified your point. Thank you very much.
I was not suggesting that at all. And if it is, I apologize. So, as I said, Madam President, what can we do to incentivize those who comply month after month after month after month? Changing the time and saying 30 days to 15 days is not an answer. The second point I want to raise, Madam President, and Senator Shaw, the businessman, he might know one way or another. The playing field is supposed to be level, but it's not. All are equal, but they have people who are more equal than others. If there are people who can have access to discretionary concessions, they get it. There are others who can't. And these are all costs in terms of running their business, which causes them not to be able to pay as they're able to. So when it takes me to the point, Madam President, that a point I've raised repeatedly in this House is for us to have a need of rethinking the taxes that we pay at the port, the tariff at the port, Mr. Shaw. We and I had that conversation before. Because as I understand it, goods coming in at the port, an average of, say, about 50 to 55% of the cost that you pay there. And we're thinking, we have said it on this side before, that we think there needs to be a coming together of the business sector. Let customs come in and have a talk with us and say, how can we, keeping in line with our obligations to CARICOM, how can we seek to reduce some of these tariffs at the port? And people being able to pay, they'll be able to pay their ABST far more easier than it is that they're doing now, Madam President. Madam President, there's also the impact of this shortened time period on businesses as we know it. The leader of government business made mention of it in passing, but it's something that we cannot overlook. We take, for example, wholesalers. Wholesalers who they play a critical part in this economy. You're asking them now to pay 15 days, within 15 days, the ABST to the government. But yet, they would have extended their credit, small businesses, the village shops, whomever, and tell them to pay in 30 days to 45 days, some even. What are we now saying would happen to those small businesses who depend on credit for their businesses to operate? They do not have cash flow. So, I mean, there's so many implications that we have where this shortened time is concerned. that we have to give consideration to where the greatest impact will be. There are people, the hairdressers, the nail techs, the village shops, who have to wait until the money comes in, they get paid, to pay at the end of the month for goods taken the month before. What does that say? That we're now telling our small businesses that they now have to pay cash so that the wholesalers can pay the ABST within the given time. So, Madam President, there is a lot that has to take place, a lot of consultation, which we are saying should have taken place, and the impact that such a move from 30% to 15% would have, days, from 30 days to 15 days, that shortened window would have on businesses in Antigua and Barbuda. And I want to end as I started, Madam President. The issue with the ABST, yes, it is an important tax. Yes, the people who collect it, the businesses who collect it, must hand it over to government. It is trust money that you're holding on behalf of the government. But we are saying that incentivize, do not penalize those who are complying. Try to see how you can get more people into the net. And having them in the net, what can we do to make sure that the way in which we do business, we're able to meet the expenses so that they cannot, Senator Shawl, as some of us would know, they withhold for a period. We're not recommending that at all, and I want to make that clear. But incentivize those who pay and try to see how we can bring others in. More pay, more people playing, more businesses playing, it's more money for the government. More businesses pay, it's more businesses, it's more taxes for the government. Give unto Caesar the things that are Caesar. Let us all pay our fair share in paying the taxes and stop penalizing those who do. If it pleases you, Madam President.